the Bandidos' top leaders.
Bandidos gang
arrested. Guns, drugs, and more.
I know, the title of the video might have surprised you. As we have told you about numerous illegal activities conducted by Bandidos in our previous videos again and again, you may think there can't be any Bandido member who can be singled out as a dangerous being, as this 1% MC has been responsible for heinous crimes as a collective. But there's one person who set the benchmark of danger so high that others couldn't even touch it. If you have watched our video about the Shedden massacre, you must be familiar with the name Wayne Kellesteine. If you haven't, then prepare your mind to be strong throughout the video, because things are just about to get very gruesome. Wayne Earl Kellesteine, better known as Wayne Kellesteine, is a Canadian outlaw biker. He's the former president of the Bandidos gangster and convicted murderer. You'd think that joining in 1%er outlaw MC has made Kellesteine rough, but it's exactly the other way around. Born in 1949, not much is known about his early childhood or his upbringing, which leaves the world curious as to what drove him to choose a life of crime. Kellesteine is of German descent. He claims that his ancestors were Hessians hired to fight for the British Crown during the American Revolutionary War, who settled in the British colony of Upper Canada after the Revolutionary War ended in 1783. The journalist Peter Edwards, the crime correspondent for the Toronto Star, wrote that Kellesteine is a pathological liar, and though he is of German descent, there is no evidence to support his claims that his ancestors were Hessians. Kellesteine has likewise frequently claimed to have served in the Canadian Army, but Edwards wrote that this claim is false. By the time he turned 18, Kellesteine already became a registered criminal. Kellesteine has a long criminal record going back to 1967. In 2006, the Toronto Sun reported that since he turned 18 in 1967, that Kellesteine amassed convictions for 3 counts of assault causing bodily harm, 3 for assault, 3 for possessing unregistered weapons, and more than a dozen counts for various weapons, property, and breach and escape charges. In the summer of 1967, Kellesteine, as an unruly teenager, went on a crime spree that led to 3 convictions for assault and assault causing bodily harm. When Kellesteine was arrested in April 2006, a policeman told the journalist Timothy Appleby of the Globe and Mail, "He's a guy who, if you were to meet him, the hair on your neck would stand on end. This is one scary individual." On 1st July 1977, when the Outlaws gang expanded into Canada and opened a chapter in London, Ontario, by patching over the Satan's Choice chapter, Kellesteine attempted to join, but was refused as he was considered to be a heat score, slang for a criminal who continually draws police attention. In 1978, Kellesteine was considered a suspect in the murder of Giovanni Di Filippo, although he was never charged. Kellesteine was allowed to start the Annihilators Motorcycle Club, based in St. Thomas, which existed as a puppet club to the Outlaws chapter in London. Kellesteine wanted to name the club Holocaust Club, but was denied the request. By the choices of his club names, you can understand what kind of sick mentality he has been harboring all along. At Kellesteine's 1982 trial for assault, one of the witnesses testified that it was widely known in criminal circles that Kellesteine had in 1978 murdered Giovanni Di Filippo, a Woodbridge, Ontario businessman. Di Filippo had been killed while answering his door by an assassin disguised as a pizza delivery man, who pulled out a gun and shot him in the head. A police investigation established that Kellesteine had almost certainly murdered Di Filippo, but there was insufficient evidence to bring charges against him. In 1982, Kellesteine left Thorndale and purchased for $50,000 a farm near Iona Station. Little did the world know this farm will become the hub to conduct all his criminal activities someday. Kellesteine's farmhouse was disorderly, with rusting automobiles lying on the front lawn, through the farmhouse itself with unpainted pine finishing in the kitchen, stone fireplace in the living room, and a sauna and cedar hot tub in the basement was described as charming and cozy. However, the Confederate and Nazi memorabilia marked the farmhouse as different, and within the walls was Kellesteine's secret gun caches, which he held despite 2 lifetime weapons bans.
You can see that Mr. Kellesteine was a collector. There is a lot of things in this shed, including a Nazi flag. Notice the tools on the wall. The workbench is covered Notice the rebel flag, photographs on the wall. Right at the top of the stairs is a Harley-Davidson motorcycle emblem.
In 1989, at a motorcycle show in London, Kellesteine got drunk, assaulted a police officer, and attempted to flee by hijacking a limousine, leading to a car chase down the streets that ended at the Outlaws Clubhouse and his arrest, an incident that confirmed his wild man reputation. In June 1991, Kellesteine shot Thomas Roger Harmsworth, a biker with the Outlaws gang, putting 4 bullets into his body, and was charged with attempted murder. Harmsworth was dropped off at the St. Thomas Elgin General Hospital, bleeding badly. The attempted murder charges were dropped when Harmsworth refused to testify against him. Harmsworth chose to follow the outlaw biker code by never testifying against another biker, even if he was the victim of a crime committed by the said biker, and instead gave Kellesteine an alibi. 2 days after the charges were dropped against Kellesteine for the attempted murder of Harmsworth in January 1992, the body of David Sparky O'Neill was found in a shallow grave with 3 bullets in his skull. It is believed that Kellesteine was somehow involved in this assassination too. In early 1992, Kellesteine sold a handgun, cocaine, and ecstasy pills to an undercover policeman. On 12th of March 1992, during a police crackdown codenamed Project Bandido on both the Annihilators and the Outlaws, Kellesteine was arrested at his farm outside of the hamlet of Iona Station, being found drunk and high in his living room, surrounded by guns, cocaine, cash, and Nazi memorabilia. An evaluation by the prison psychologist done on 11 January 1993 declared about Kellesteine, criminality appears to be a matter of choice of lifestyle for him, and that he was a paranoid narcissist. Kellesteine was sentenced to 6 years in prison as a result of the Project Bandido charges. The parole board twice denied Kellesteine's applications, citing concerns that he had repeatedly failed drug tests while in prison. In late 1994, Kellesteine was released on parole. Shortly afterwards, the body of a London woman, Sonia Nadine May Kywink, was found murdered in the Southwold earthworks near Kellesteine's farmhouse.
My name is Ninda Masakwe. I think there's a lot of guilt, when you lose someone like that, because you think of all of the signs, all of the things that you should have done, you could have done.
Her murder was never solved, but Edwards wrote that rumors in Iona Station claimed she had done something to annoy Viner Kellesteine shortly before her murder.
Comes in, it's going to be followed up on. There is no sort of file where the OPP puts away our historical homicides.
It's an open case, it's an active case, and I think those are very important words for me. I believe that they are doing the best job they can under the circumstances.
Kellesteine had a certain local notoriety as the man who liked to introduce himself as, "Hi, I'm Wayne Kellesteine. I sell drugs and I kill people." Visitors to his farmhouse noted he would shoot his wife Linda with an air gun for no apparent reason. In 2009, one of Kellesteine's neighbors, a farmer who did not wish to be named, told Appleby, "He didn't bother us too much most of the time, but everybody knew he was trouble. There was often biker types around, and there was always talk that he had killed people. Kellesteine has a long-standing rivalry with Hell's Angels, and he always wanted to make them pay. Finally, he came up with a plan in 2006. Wayne Kellesteine became obsessed with the thought of gaining control over the US-based biker gang's Canadian business and making profitable trade of methamphetamine. It was only possible by removing a majority of Toronto members. So Kellesteine planned to finish them off for good and then portray the Hell's Angel for the killing. Which leads us to the horrible events of the Shedden Massacre. The Shedden Massacre involved the gang-related killing of 8 men, whose bodies were found in a field 5 kilometers north of Shedden, a small village in the Canadian province of Ontario, on April 8, 2006. 4 vehicles with the bodies inside were first discovered by a farmer.
Videotape taken at Wayne Kellesteine's farm during the week before 8 Toronto area bandidos were shot to death.
It was the worst mass murder in modern Ontario history. Within days, police arrested 6 men, including a former police officer in Kellesteine. All 6 were eventually convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison.
The day after the bodies were discovered, 5 people, including Kellesteine, were arrested for the murders, and 3 more people were arrested in June 2006. Kellesteine is currently serving a life sentence for first-degree murder for his killing 6 out of the 8 victims of the Shedden massacre.
Okay, well, you're absolutely right about that.
I don't have to prove anything. So I don't
Well,
have to say anything.
Wayne, you know...
All I gotta do is sit here until you guys are done ripping the house apart. And I go home and have to bury some friends, obviously.
Alongside his criminal activities, Kellesteine was widely known in Iona Station for being a racist, an anti-Semite, and a homophobe, with his farmhouse full of Nazi memorabilia. Kellesteine traveled to London every year to protest the local Gay Pride Day by waving the Confederate battle flag. Many among the LGBTQA community believe that it's possible that Kellesteine has even committed hate crimes but kept them quiet. Along with many law enforcement officers, newspaper journalists, many crime specialists too think that Wayne Kellesteine could have gone and committed even larger crime if he wasn't stopped and put behind the bar. He was a sociopath, a man with no remorse. Let's hope we never see another 1%er following his path. Although there are more dangerous 1%ers who belong to other clubs and whose names are etched in the crime book of outlaws in bloody red. We'll tell you those sagas too soon.